Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named MutedEnd in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "I know that my husband is cheating on me with my best friend, but if I left, he will take half of everything. I am a 40-year-old mother of a baby girl who is 5. I have been married to my husband for 12 years. About 10 years ago, I started my business and it is my pride and joy. I love my life and I enjoy my work. 2 years ago, I lost my beautiful mother to breast cancer. It all happened in 5 weeks, and she was so young, 55 years old. It sent me into shock and depression. A short while before that, my best friend found out that her husband cheated and he left her for his mistress. It was a hard time, and my best friend and I became even closer than ever before. She moved in with me for a while after my mother passed because I wasn't really functioning and she was homeless. I started with antidepressants that killed my sexual needs. I felt guilty for my husband, but I really couldn't do anything but try to be healthy again as soon as possible. My best friend lived with us for 1 year and they started sleeping together towards the end of that year. That's when I got home early and heard them. I ran out in shock. I came back a few hours later pretending nothing happened. I managed to smoothly find her a place because I couldn't bear it happening in my home, my sanctuary, my happy place where I live with my daughter. My best friend had already found herself a job and I took the opportunity to find her the apartment near her job. She was grateful. I was a bit more relieved. The affair is still going on. If I leave, he will take half. It will ruin me and my business and what I am trying to build for me and my baby. No, I don't want to leave. It is so unfair that he is the one cheating and I am the one who will pay if I said anything. I refuse, so I am letting it happen. Instead, I wrote him off as my companion and safety blanket. I still have lots to be grateful for. My baby, my family, and my beautiful home, and my business. Most of the time, I am content and happy even though I myself don't know how I'm doing it. Maybe it is numbness or resignation, or maybe it is true contentment. But sometimes when everything is 100 times magnified, I can barely contain my panic, especially at night when he wakes me up because I'm crying. Again, are you having a nightmare? And he tries to kiss and cuddle me to make me feel safe. I'm here, you're safe. I wish I could tell him that my nightmares are my escape from my reality with him and that his shoulders aren't safe. He rarely asks why I am crying. He probably thinks it is mom, because that's what I tell him. But sometimes I feel like he knows or that he can't help himself wondering, what's going on behind those eyes? What do you mean? I can't read your face anymore. See, you are silent again. When I look at him, he immediately looks away like he is scared he would turn into stone and says, I miss you. That's all. My panic has increased more these past few months since he started paying me attention again. The first period after mom's passing, he never bothered me out of courtesy, I suppose. Never asked for intimacy. Then he had her, so he didn't need me. But now, I don't know what changed. They're still together, so what does he want from me? Is he testing me? I never understood why they're doing what they're doing either. I have seen their texts. There's no love there, no respect, no warmth. Not what I would expect from two people who are sleeping together, especially not when the stakes are so high. You would think that they love each other so much that they're willing to pay the price in case they're caught. No, there's a lot of anger, fighting, and resentment. A lot of guilt and self-hatred. He calls himself and her disgusting and shells of a human being. Is that too some sort of love? I don't know why I am writing here. I googled about infidelity and self-help and I ended up in this community and I read tens of similar stories. Maybe I would feel better writing my own down. Please don't think too ill of me. I know that I am pathetic, but I used to have more dignity. Oftentimes, whenever a story about infidelity pops up, I always say to end the relationship as betrayal is the worst thing you can do in a relationship. But we don't always touch on the financial side. And I can 100% understand the fear she has about the future if she does proceed with divorce. In certain situations, one's partner may even take over half of what you have, but I think this comes down to a matter of how much you value your own peace. As a business owner, you build skills that can't be taken from you, so you can always build back up. There's an infinite amount of money you can make from the world. In conclusion, I do think that splitting up with her cheating husband is the right move here. User Queen Mother said, find a lawyer to protect your assets. Also, stop being her friend. Why would you entertain her after she continues to hurt you? Let him know that you know. There's no point in playing the games they are. Put it out in the open. Tell your friends and family. While you are in the midst of grieving your mom, your husband and ex-best friend decided to engage in an affair after you gave her a place to stay, literally biting the helping hand. Straighten your spine and coat it in steel. To this, OP said, I haven't seen or talked to her in ages. User-wise Consequence said, tell him that the only way you'll forgive him is if he's willing to sign a post-nuptial agreement stating that he will not touch your business or anything that's in your name and ensure that it is notarized. Suggest couples therapy because some courts aren't willing to agree until all options for resolution have been explored. User Stony2723 said, I think you're processing a lot of pain right now. You're smart not to make any decisions yet. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you have the power here. You should talk to a lawyer first and foremost. Lay all your cards on the table and see what your options are. There may be some things you can do to protect yourself, your business, and your child. Cheating tends not to be looked upon favorably in court. Get your ducks in a row. The more you do, the more in control you will feel, and the less you'll continue to tolerate this treatment. I also hope you know that you deserve better from both of them. For her to do to you what has happened to her is deplorable, especially after you opened your home to her. Ultimately, it's up to you how you want the rest of your life to look. What you're doing now isn't sustainable for you. Maybe consider installing a Ring camera at your house. It may give you peace of mind and help keep your home a sanctuary. You have to stop feeling sorry for yourself. What would you want your daughter to do if she were in your shoes? Would you tell her to roll over and accept this treatment? Why are you? Update. I made a post a few weeks ago and I want to thank you for the support and the many suggestions. If you want the details, please read that one first. I promise to keep this one very short and simple. I have taken 2 measures to protect myself and my daughter when my husband and I get a divorce, in order to safeguard my assets and my daughter's future. I'm sure many will find my methods dubious, and honestly, that's fine with me. All's fair in love and war, and this is a bit of both. I told my father everything. He was horrified, but also relieved to finally understand what has been hurting me. We discussed the possibility that he could buy into my business in case I need to divide it, so he and I would have the bigger share and still be able to make decisions. I have also agreed to my husband's suggestion of seeing a marriage counselor. He talked about my mom's passing and how it affected me and my mentality. He kept mentioning how I was building walls and being distant, expressing his longing for me to come back to him. While he talked, I wondered what he would do if I told him that I knew about his affair. Would he still complain about my walls or finally understand them? I opened up about my mom's illness and how it affected me, not only the loss, but also the fact that my grandmother and great-grandmother passed away in the same way. It made me think that I have inherited this pattern of grief and fear, which I have now passed down to my daughter. What was I thinking? Since the counseling, we have been communicating more in our day-to-day lives. I honestly told him that my business was one of the stressors in my life. I expressed my worry that if we didn't fix our marital issues and he wanted to leave me, it would change my career and future, while his wouldn't because he is a government employee. This conversation took place 2 weeks ago. The day after, he sat me down and told me that he wanted a post-nuptial agreement to make me feel more secure. He wanted me to be with him because I wanted to, not because I had to. I talked in my first post about my house, etc., but I really don't care about that anymore. Everything else can be marital property, and honestly, I've started to hate this house. I can't wait to leave it. So the next move is starting the separation. I am aiming for the end of this year, and then only the hardest part will be left, telling my daughter that mommy and daddy won't be living together anymore. I'm not looking forward to that part. This next post was made in the AITAH subreddit by a user named Active Bunch. The post is titled AITA for not helping my daughter. My daughter went no contact with me 2 years ago. Before this happened, I warned her about the guy she was dating who was full of red flags. He love-bombed her and isolated her from her family and friends. She dropped out of college despite my pleas for her to reconsider. She decided to move in with him, and since then I have not heard from her directly. However, she would often ask a family member to ask me for money. The last thing I heard about her is that she has 1-year-old twins and that her life is basically falling apart. The love of her life turned out to be a monster, and she's working 2 jobs to keep her family afloat. The friends she abandoned are now done with college and starting new careers in corporate, while she works at a dollar store and drives for Uber. A family member showed me a screenshot of my daughter's Facebook post in which she called me an ass. for not stepping up and helping her. She also ranted about me not supporting her in finishing college, unlike her friend's parents. I don't have much extra money and I'm saving for retirement. She dropped out when I begged her not to. Plus, she also blocked my number. She knows where I live but has never attempted to drop by. Am I the asshole for not reaching out and offering help? User Prof Plum did it said, your daughter hasn't learned a thing and isn't worth your money. The fact that she didn't try to talk to you and admit her mistakes, but instead lied about you on Facebook to make herself look like an innocent victim is proof of that. User Ophelia Beasley said NTA, your daughter made a choice on her own even if someone love bombed her and gave her false hope, but she chose not you. It is not fair for her to think that you are the one who gave up on her education and her life. User Imaginary Park said NTA, at 17 I left home and at 19 I got married to a much older man. Then I moved states. I always kept in contact with my family, there was no bad blood there. Then about 18 months after the wedding, my husband tried to strangle me. My parents were at my house the next day with a U-Haul. I moved about an hour away, staying with the same employer and living alone. After about 10 months of this, my parents encouraged me to move back in with them and attend tech school to get some type of training and credentials. So I did. I was super grateful for the opportunity. I went to tech school full-time for 6 quarters and graduated with honors in electronics. While I was still living with them, I got a job at a local pizza joint where I could work on the weekends. I also kept the house clean while I lived with them. They paid for my schooling, which at that time was about $300 a quarter, super cheap, especially compared to what my sister got for her education. Anyway, I'm very glad they didn't write me off and gave me an opportunity to improve my life. But I never treated my family the way your daughter is treating you. To this, OP said, thank you for sharing your experience. Before she dropped out, she was living with me, and just like your parents, I was paying for her tuition. She only worked 2 days a week, and I covered all her bills. When she met the guy she's with now, she suddenly changed. She started skipping her classes and spending time with him instead. Then she dropped out and moved in with him. I begged her to reconsider, but she blocked me instead. Update. Thanks everyone for your input. I sent a message to my daughter via a family member on Facebook and my son, and they both came to my house last night for dinner. I told them it would be an open forum where we could air our grievances against each other, and from there we would sort things out. Daughter. She hates me for not trying hard enough to reach out to her when she moved in with her boyfriend. She also resents that I never tried to accept him. My reason is that she decided to drop out and be an adult, and I felt disrespected by the hurtful things she said. By blocking me, I got the message that she did not want me around. I can never accept her boyfriend. He has cheated on her many times and does not work. I am disgusted. Son. He hates me for not giving him the extra money I had saved for the rest of my daughter's college tuition. He also said that if I didn't want to give it to him, I could have given it to her when she got pregnant. My reason is that I paid for his college too. Since my daughter did not finish, whatever extra money I had saved for her tuition was moved to my retirement savings. Why would I give it to him when I already paid for his education? He graduated with 0 student loans. Also, why would I give it to her just because she got pregnant? Being an adult means you are responsible for your decisions. Me. I am disappointed that my daughter dropped out, moved in with her boyfriend, got pregnant, and is now living a hard life. I told her that I worked hard to give her a good life and that she was my little princess. I never wanted her to experience hardship in life, but she chose this path, and this is her reality now. I'm also disappointed in my son for cutting me off and disrespecting me when I tried to reach out. All in all, we were civil. However, they suggested that I get a reverse mortgage so they could receive their inheritance early, which would help them buy their own house. I said I would think about it. This final post was made in the relationship subreddit by a user named Shy Chipmunk. The post is titled, "Husband became Catholic and changed the rules about how we can have sex. I have been openly pagan my entire adult life. I am very private with my practice and rarely involve my husband and kids. My husband has recently decided to go back to the Catholic Church after being away his entire adult life. With his rejoining the church, it has triggered his OCD and he has become very scrupulous. Last night, he dropped the bomb on me that he no longer believes we can be sexually intimate unless it leads to penis. As a result, I can't give him blowjobs or hand jobs to climax. He can't finger me or give me oral to climax, and no mutual or mutual oral is allowed. All of this comes directly after I told him I needed more intimacy that wasn't sex, because he also suffers from premature ejaculation and can't last more than a stroke or two before sex is over, leaving me frustrated and unfulfilled. We have been married for nearly 11 years. I, of course, am not taking this well. I have tried telling him that it is completely unfair to impose his religious restrictions on me like this. He will not budge because in his eyes that is sinning. Help me, Reddit. We are basically teetering on the edge of divorce because of all this, and it's going to destroy the lives of our children. User Aspartame said, the fact that this is coming right after you said you wanted non-PIV sex is concerning, as is his refusal to budge. If he believes sex should only be done in a way which theoretically could result in conception, then bringing you to orgasm through oral or fingering shouldn't be a problem. Is this the only thing that has changed since his conversion? If so, then it sounds like he is using Catholicism to justify his insensitivity and laziness around your sexual needs. User OK Neighborhood said, I was raised Catholic and yikes on him. Marriage counseling that is given by a non-religious person is the only hope here. That being said, the chances that he stops this charade are slim to none. He is attempting mid-marriage to enforce a very old church doctrine that most people currently don't subscribe to. The only ones that still do are those extremely conservative Catholics, which are basically a cult. Frankly, it's bizarre at best and concerning, controlling, and selfish at worst. To be honest, at this point, I would call this an incompatibility and begin to meet with divorce lawyers.